Okay, awesome. So we are recording now. It is Tuesday, June 19th. And my name is Nikki Stoffaker. I'm a director in Eastern Washington, and I'm leading our Leader Plus some people call today while Mandy is vacationing in Greece for a couple of weeks, which is so awesome for her.
Lucky.
I know. That's what happens when you're a senior executive or whatever she is, executive director with Wild Tree. You get to do these things. So anyway, we are talking, let me see here if I can mute. Okay. If you guys have background noise, just go ahead and mute your line or whatever. And then you can unmute if you want to talk or ask questions. But basically what we're talking about today is just how to have effective onboarding conversations. I know Karen is on the call and she's just kind of had this conversation with us a few days ago, which is so awesome. Here to kind of listen from the other side of things, from not just being the one being onboarded, but now kind of thinking through that process as she's connecting with other people too. Let me mute a couple lines here. Here's some background noise. Okay, so Molly has just been kicking butt and taking names in her business, and I thought, if Molly, do you want to share really quickly how helpful this has been? Molly actually came up with the idea of doing three-way calls with like onboarding new team members, and it was a brilliant idea. I don't know why we haven't been doing this all along. And then with that, we've just kind of been having some really good conversations with people. Do you want to give us a quick overview, Molly, of how that's been working and helping?
Yeah, I was just getting all these new reps signed up, and I was thinking, okay, I need to talk to them, within at least 2 or 3 days to kind of get them started off on the right foot. I was just praying about it and thinking, and I'm like, wait a minute, Yota is like rock stars. We need to get Yota on the line. And so, because one of the things I really tell all my reps and encourage people is that Wild Tree is such a supportive, loving group that everybody will just support you however they can, and really encourages you and does whatever they can to help you. And so I thought one of the best ways to show that is just to do a three-way call and get on the phone and just show that support and just get them started on the right, because I can talk to people, I can get them started the best I can, but just that also that third party validation of this is somebody who's been in this business for a while, who knows how to do things, and is here to support you too, not just me. Like, our whole team is here supporting you. And after the call, I just feel like it makes such a difference in them to like encourage them, to give them the right words to say, to make sure they get a clear vision. For some reason, just having that extra person kind of talk to them about what's your vision for this business, or what's your why, like what's really motivated you, what made you decide to do all this, really kind of sets a good path and good groundwork for them to get started strong. And so I feel like it's been so effective. I wish I would have done this at the very beginning. So, yeah.
Thanks, Molly. Yeah, it's been like just so exciting and so much fun also to get to know like Molly's team members right out of the gate, instead of kind of waiting for that opportunity of whatever comes up, of a get together and stuff. Is just connecting a little bit more. So those of you who are leaders on the call, maybe be thinking of this as far as like what you can do to support your team members in helping them onboard their people and really having that like solid foundation, because so much of what happens in our business starts with our mindset. And so you really want to have a clear vision and really, know the direction you're going, have a plan for that, and really be excited about that. And then also feel really supported in that, because I feel like, that fear of failure really sometimes is like that bad voice on your shoulder that's like talking you out of doing the things that you have to do. And we just want to help support everybody so that they don't feel intimidated by things that they're not really comfortable or experienced doing. So I've been looking up some quotes this morning. I'm kind of a quote junkie, and there was just a few that kind of came, or that like resonated with me, having to do with what we're talking about. One is like, success occurs when your dreams get bigger than your excuses. So that's kind of obviously makes really good sense. And let's see if there's another one I want to say now. Well, I'll read the rest of these to you at the end if we have time. So be thinking of this process from both the perspective of if you need to kind of do this with yourself again, like maybe you're like, gosh, yeah, I've been a rep for a while, or I've been a leader for a while, but my business is just not as solid right now as I would like it to be. So you can kind of use these tips on yourself, the steps. And then also just how can you use this in onboarding your new reps, and then also supporting your team in their onboarding process. So I'm going to say like probably the most important thing about this, and everybody who knows me knows like I'm a talker, like I'm super social, I'm talkative. But one thing I learned is that the most important part of this whole process is listening, is asking really good questions and listening. So you're going to want to practice that on your kids or with your husband or something if you're not a good listener. But it is crucial, because this process might as well go in the garbage if you don't ask questions and listen, because you need to get to know the person that you're talking to, because it doesn't matter how bad you want that person to be your next team leader. If that's not what they want, you're just like not even on the same page. So it doesn't even make sense to move forward with the process. So the first question I ask is, just tell me a little bit about you. I want to get to know the person, like really who they are, like if they have kids, what, it just gives you a good feel for not only like genuinely getting to know them, but also what does their life look like? So you can kind of be able to present something that makes sense for them when you get to that point. So number one is tell me a little bit about you, if you're taking notes. Number two is what appealed to you about the business opportunity with Wild Tree? Like, why did you decide to become a rep versus just being a customer and hostess? Because you can buy Wild Tree products if you love them. You can host a party and get stuff for free, which is kind of like getting a discount anyways. But there's something that pushed you over that edge or whatever to get to the point of saying like, no, I have a need, whatever that need might be. So why did you decide to become a rep rather than a product user? And then number three is, what are your goals and vision with Wild Tree? So you might have to help them with this part. And this is where you guys, I feel like, since all of us are already Wild Tree reps or leaders, this is maybe the step that you need to start at for yourself personally. And I revisit this step monthly, like sometimes even weekly, depending on what's going on in life. It's really important once you reach a goal that you reset your vision and have a new goal. It's like crucial to your business, either like plateauing and even starting to sink versus keeping on moving forward, because accomplishing a big goal, and I'll tell you from experience, when I promoted to director at the end of January, I worked so hard. I had 13 months, a clear vision. I read my goals every single morning. It totally works. But I was like, I did it. I felt like it was like I crossed the finish line. And then it was really hard for me to I had to really dig in, like, okay, what other goals? Obviously I have more goals in life than just promoting to director at Wild Tree, right? That's just, that's awesome, but that's not like my life goals. And it was like, wow, the CEO of Wild Tree sat next to me in our first director meeting and asked me, so what are your next goals? What are your goals for the next 5 years? And I had like a deer in the headlights stare. Like, I didn't even know what to say. I was just so excited to be there. So that was a really eye-opening moment to say, okay, as soon as you hit that goal, as soon as you reach that goal that you work towards, you have to, celebrate, of course, but then really refocus on what are your next goals and what's your vision going forward. So you might have to help newer reps with this process a little bit, because number one, they don't want to look stupid, for lack of better words, to say to you, I want to make $5,000 a month starting next month. They have no idea if making $200 a month is crazy ambitious or making $1,000 a month is crazy ambitious. They don't really have any frame of reference on what kind of money they can make. So, I just kind of say like, do you have anything in mind? Like, what would be helpful, and even like, if you were to dream big, what would that look like? What are your big dreams and goals? And then what you can do is just talk about, I'm going to use an example of somebody who's not on this call on Molly's team, who I talked to last week. And it was probably, it's why I was excited to talk about this topic. It's one of the reasons. She talked about, really she'd like to make $300 a month. And I'm thinking, maybe she's just saying that because that's a really safe number. Like, she doesn't want to say more, just in case that sounds crazy or something to me, and whatever. And I asked her, I said, okay, so this is kind of something you guys are going to want to write down too, is would $300 a month really have a big impact on your family? Like, what would that money mean to your family? And she was like, it would have a huge impact on my family. She said, my baby was born at 2 pounds and spent, I can't remember how long, a really long time in the intensive care unit. And their doctor bills they won't have them paid off until their baby is in kindergarten. So it's a financial burden that is just hanging over their head. That is just a reminder of like total emotional like agony that they went through having, a 2-pound baby, probably not knowing if the baby was going to be okay or not, and have health problems and stuff. And so when we started talking about like what an impact that money would make on her life, and what if she didn't have that money? What if, what if she isn't able to make that money, and 5 years from now, she's still going to be struggling with that debt, and, just not really being able to do anything else in life except for stress out financially to make ends meet every month for something that's so hard to even like emotionally, go through on a regular basis of just that whole process. And like, we all got emotional. Like I could tell like she was kind of tearing up, and I just felt like goosebumps and just like, it was like a really emotional thing. And it just reminded me of like, how amazing is it that we have this opportunity to offer to people that can really make a difference in their life, and how $300 to one person is really, really impactful. Somebody else might need $3,000 a month, and that's okay, because we can help, help them make a path to where they can make the $3,000 a month if that's their goal. It's all possible. But it just really was like, I don't know, it was just a heartfelt moment of like, this is such an amazing business that we have, that we can make such a big difference. And if we didn't have that conversation with her, we would have no idea what the $300 a month meant. And more importantly, she wouldn't have really connected her actions to why she's doing this. And that's really, really important, because all of us know, like, sometimes you're not going to feel like picking up the phone and calling someone, or even texting people to try to get bookings. And we don't want to be bugging people and this and that. Like, we're all the same. We all love people. We're all nice people. We all have the same battle and struggle. But when you have that core, like, why am I doing this? Dig down deep and think about that. And then more importantly, even than that I recently learned this in a book I'm reading, is what if you don't accomplish the goal that you're setting out to accomplish? What is your life going to look like in 5 years? And that fear of the pain that you're going to suffer is actually more motivating than the hope of this like happiness that or I don't know if happiness is the right word, but like accomplishing the goal is awesome. Like having that why and being excited and having those feelings of, yes, I succeeded and all of that, that's super powerful. But the fear of like, oh my gosh, this is how it's going to be if I don't, is actually going to make you pick up the phone even more so than the excitement of thinking about that goal taking place, which I had never really heard or thought about that much, to be honest. So think about that. It's even in commercials on TV when they're showing you like, this is what your life can look like if you buy our product. But if you don't, this is what your life's going to continue to look like. Kind of that word picture of like, let's pretend it's that mom. I think you guys might have seen it on some of our social media images of like, she's like pulling out her hair and her kids are all over the place and she's just trying to make dinner, or it's like, that could be your life. But with our products, you could be sitting down at this beautiful dining room table with your family, sipping a glass of wine, no stress, because we solved your what's for dinner dilemma. So you can definitely use that in both your onboarding, recruiting, and in your sales, is like, here's what your life could look like. And without us, this is what your life is going to continue to look like, sort of. So, okay, moving on from that, which I feel like that is one of the most important parts of the whole entire talk. Let's see. Okay. So that was number 3, was your goals, your vision, your why, how you feel if you reach that, how that positive emotion, and then how are you going to feel if things continue to be how they are, kind of that negative that you don't want. That's all sort of number 3. And then number 4 is, how many parties do you think you can do per week, per month? Kind of back to like, let's make some action steps. We've created your vision and goal. And really, we haven't left it like in this horrible, like sad place. We've left it like, oh my gosh, okay, this is so exciting that we know like the vision and goal that you're working towards. So now let's make an action plan. Okay. And for those of you who are familiar with the prosperity circle, we're totally following the prosperity circle always when we're doing, these talks with whoever we're talking to. So number 4, how many parties do you think you can do per week or per month? And if they don't know, I always present the idea of, would doing 2 parties a week be something that could work in your schedule? Because 2 parties a week is considered like a business builder full-time rep in our business, which is, like 2 parties a week, you guys. Anybody can figure out how to do 2 parties a week. Even the busiest of zoodles here on our call, who's a doctor and has 2 young kids at home, figures out how to do 2 parties a week. If they want it, if they need the money and that's their desire to grow their business. So I'm just saying, I guess I shouldn't say anybody can do it. I mean, there are people who don't have any support or help. It might be a little bit harder, but most people would be a better way of saying it. Most people can do 2 parties a week if their why and their motivation is big enough, and they really have this goal that's at the front of their mind that they're working towards. So then number 5 is that you're going to want to break down, what does 2 parties a week look like? Okay. So, the company average is like $560 per party. So I just use $500. I know I don't want anybody to feel bad when I say that. If you're like, my parties are never $500. Okay. Then we need to work on host coaching. Okay. So if your parties aren't $500, then reach out to your upline. We'll help you with host coaching and we'll figure out how to get more people to your parties. That's the bottom line. It's always a numbers game. So, okay. And then let's see here. I have my notes. Okay. So 2 parties a week times $500 average party is X amount of dollars. As at that point, you would be a senior representative because obviously you will have sold over $1,000 in personal volume for the month. So you're going to break that down into senior rep, and then you're going to also break it down into what would it look like if you had 1 team member. You brought 1 person into the business and they didn't even do anything. They just simply signed up and they're active. They're going to make sure they sell 350 every 4 months. You just have an active rep on your team. All of a sudden you're an aspiring team leader because you have obviously sold over 2,000 in the month if you're doing 2 parties a week at $500 average. And then you've got the 1 team member. So then you're promoted to aspiring team leader. And then lastly, we go through what team leader looks like. So I just did this with Karen like a few days ago, so I don't have to necessarily redo it. Does anybody on the call need a refresher on that? Or actually, you know what? I'm gonna not do that on this call just because we do have leaders, so I don't want to take up time on explaining the different ranks. Reach out to me and like comment on our Facebook page if you want to go over in detail any of these like little promotion, the promotion steps in the business, and then we'll break down those numbers and stuff for you. Okay, so you're just going to explain that difference. And what's so powerful about that, I think I have the notes actually from my call with one of Molly's girls. Well, and like for an example, one gal I did 6 parties a month because she's a nurse and it just doesn't work for her to do 8 because of the way her shifts work out. Like, I mean, maybe she could do 3 parties a week on her off time. Let's see. Okay. Well, yeah. These numbers aren't jiving with what I'm saying to you guys. We've done different scenarios, like if you had a $350 party, this and that. So you guys know how to do the math. I'm not going to waste time on that. But basically, just whatever they're coming up with that's going to work for their schedule that you guys have talked about, just break that down into the difference between a senior rep, aspiring team leader, and team leader. That it really is impactful to see how recruiting really makes a difference in your income, and you're still only leaving your house X amount of days per month, whatever you set out to do. So it's really, the income difference is huge. And what's interesting is that usually I think everybody I talk to is like, wow, like pretty pleasantly surprised with how much money you can make in this business with not a huge time investment. Also at this point, as leaders, it's really important to remind everybody that we are here to help and support you as your leaders. Okay. So you're not like, a brand new rep does not know what the heck they're going to do to go out and start recruiting people. I mean, they're thinking, I am just figuring this out. I can guarantee you almost every, Karen, are you nodding your head? Like that's yes. Like I can guarantee you almost every brand new rep has no intention on recruiting until they have it all figured out, period. Like that's the natural tendency in our mind. How in the world are you going to teach somebody something you don't even know, right? But that's what we're here for. So why in the world do we want to hold back their business because they don't have it all figured out when we can help them with that part? So this is where those three-way calls can be really powerful. You have somebody who's interested in the business, and then they schedule a three-way call with you so that you guys can talk and you can basically help them recruit that person. What's so awesome about a three-way call is that they're learning and taking notes while you're talking, so that, after however many times, they're going to feel really comfortable with that conversation with someone who's interested in the business. It doesn't take that long to hear the same exact process, as long as it's like a pretty clear process of what you're doing and the steps that you're taking when you're talking to people. Then pretty soon your new rep doesn't feel like a new rep anymore. She can have these conversations on her own, and then the cycle just continues. I just think it's a really great habit and system to get into. So, okay, so we are making them feel really comfortable with recruiting, because just think of people that you know and bring them to us for three-way calls and we'll help you. Okay, so at this point, I actually say, does this seem doable? Like, do you have any questions? Are you freaking out? Like, I want to make sure they're not inside like, I don't even know if I can handle this, since I could be a lot. Sometimes when I'm talking, I get excited. And most of the time they've been like, no, this is awesome. This is so helpful. This is great. But if they have questions, fine. You want to make sure to give them that opportunity to talk again. And then number 8, I actually have been helping them brainstorm their list of people. And this process has been evolving, like through past onboarding that I've done with my own recruits, but also the 4 people that I've helped Molly with last week. I've kind of like, okay, what is this process and why is it just working so well and it's so powerful? But I think just helping them brainstorm their list is really awesome, because then they're leaving, they're getting off this call feeling like they know who they're calling. I mean, like, they don't even have to make their list when they get off the call. You've already talked about some people that they can talk to. So I've been encouraging, let's think of 2 people that come to mind about the business opportunity right away. Like, who comes to your mind and why, and have a little bit of a conversation, at least talk about one of those people with them. And then maybe they can think of a second person, so they have 2 potential recruits on their list to reach out to. And then let's talk about 4 people who, they say never prejudge. You should always look at everybody as a potential recruit, which is true. But if you really cannot wrap your mind around a reason to reach out to Sally, let's say about the business, but you feel really confident in reaching out to her for booking a party, that's fine. You want to have bookings on your calendar too. So think of 4 people that you're going to reach out to about booking a party. Those 4 people may end up being recruits for you too eventually, but I'm just saying focus on 2 potential recruits and 4 bookings just on this phone call, so that they actually are brainstorming, they're making a list, and they know the people they're going to reach out to when they get off the phone or in the next couple days or whatever. And then number 9 is schedule a launch party. So they need to be scheduling their own launch parties, and then use that as a default when they're offering the business opportunity and when they're talking about the booking. So let's say you call somebody and say, let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna give you the words to use on my next step. Sorry. So you're gonna have them schedule their launch parties, and then they're gonna offer the business opportunity to someone. Maybe it's not for them yet, or maybe they're just like, I need more information. I could maybe host a party for you, or do you have a party I could come to? Something like that. So you're gonna use that launch party as a default, so they can just always be inviting all those people are reaching out to their launch party. So if they're interested in the business opportunity, still invite them to your launch party so they can come and check it out, learn a little bit, and get more excited. If they book a party with you, still invite them to come to your launch party, because that's going to help them to explain to the friends that they're inviting to their party what it's all about. And then obviously if they don't respond, if they're not interested in the business, they can't book, they can't host for you right now, then invite them to your launch party. So essentially you're going to invite everybody to your launch party, but you want to start with these other things first and use the launch party as the default. Okay. And then number 10 is help them with their words to use. I think this is really huge. And Mandy O'Halloran called me, I don't know, I had been a rep for a couple of months, and I thought I was like, it was like, I remember sitting on my office floor when my phone rang and it was Mandy O'Halloran, my director. Like, I literally was like starstruck. I thought it was so awesome that she called me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my director, like, I got off the phone, told my husband, my director in Wild Tree called me, like, took the time out of her day to make a phone call to me. I just thought it was so awesome. So that is also powerful for you guys with your teams, is like taking that time with them really means something. But anyways, she told me something that stuck with me ever since then. And I know all of you on the phone have probably heard this, but just a reminder is to use the words, I thought of you because. And all of a sudden, when you talk to someone using those words, it becomes about them. You know, it becomes about helping them with a solution to a problem that they might be having. It makes it personal. It makes them feel like you were thinking about them, you know, like they came to your mind. Like it just is so awesome. It's so simple, but it's just really makes reaching out to people so easy. So I thought of you because, and then the things that I've kind of added is, the next question would be, do you struggle with something? And this is because it's really important. You guys are going to learn more and more about this with our story branding training that we're going to be doing at STIR, and then also just moving forward with our company. But story branding is so amazing because it really is walks people through this process where your mind really follows it. And it's really a process of like a story or a movie. And so the first thing in a movie is like, you know, like you get in touch with the character, but then you know there's a problem. Like there's always a problem in the movie, right? And that needs to be solved, or else the movie would be super boring. So essentially that's the way we're going to learn to kind of communicate with our teams, with our customers, with everyone. So I thought of you because I'm trying to think of an example. I know you're just like this would be kind of like a booking one, but I thought of you because, you know, I know you're a super busy soccer mom. It seems like you're just running kids here and there all the time. Do you ever struggle with like getting a healthy dinner on the table that's like quick and easy to put together, or just getting a healthy dinner on the table at night? And then that is creating like, they're instantly going to see themselves at dinner time in their mind. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I struggle. Are you kidding me? Me and all my friends. So what if Wild Tree could be the means to provide you, you know, just simple, healthy dinners that are on the table every night? Would you be open to hearing a little bit more about it? So that's kind of the words, like the structure or framework that I've been kind of using in helping my new reps launch. And I think you could even, before you say I thought of you, because obviously you might start that with, hey, this is Karen. I just started this awesome business with Wild Tree, and I thought of you because, like, I know you're super busy with kids, running them all around. And do you ever struggle with like getting a healthy dinner on the table at night? And then obviously let them answer. And then, well, what if Wild Tree could be the means to provide you like quick, easy, healthy dinners that are on the table with no stress? Would you be open to hearing a little bit more about that? And so that framework just kind of helps the conversation flow and make sense. And it's all about helping them solve their problem. But what is really important is that you reminded them of their problem in the beginning. So that's a really important part. And then, and obviously the what if.
Can I add, Nyota?
What?
Can I add something?
Yeah.
One thing that I've been telling people that haven't heard of Tree, just because it's been really effective, is I just go, hey, have you ever done freezer meals? Like, and just leaving it open, just a host or come to a party. And that's like really, really active in getting the conversation open about Tree. Like, I think of 5 people I've done that for. So anyway, sorry. No, I just wanted that out there to keep in mind too.
Well, and you might put that in after you say, like, do you struggle with like getting healthy dinners on the table at night? And then she might say, yeah, totally. Then you could say, have you ever made freezer meals? Like, that might be a good point to like plug that in. You know, and then you could talk about Wild Tree having the different solutions and stuff for sure. I think the key though is that you want to make sure that they recognize why you thought of them, and that you present the problem to them. Like, you ask it, you know, you're asking a question about the problem they might be having. So you want to make sure that they I know this sounds bad, but it's like you want to make sure they feel like that struggle or that problem inside of them so that you can help teach them how they can be the hero in their story with the different solutions that you're going to offer to them. It's a really powerful marketing strategy. And it really makes sense. The more you hear it over and over, you know, you'll start to feel like now I cannot drive down Division Street or wherever. I know people are all over the place, but I cannot drive on any road and look at a billboard and not analyze like, oh, they must know Story Brand. Like they really did a good job. And then someone else like, do they even realize what a waste of money this is that they just put that on a billboard? Nobody even knows what they're talking about. It's crazy how that alters the way that you're thinking. So don't read into that too much unless you want to actually like buy the book. I think it's called Building a Story Brand. And the book's awesome, and you guys can read that and learn a little bit more about this. But you'll be learning from us, and then obviously if you're going to conference, you'll be learning more there. So, okay, we're on my Zoom, which means we get cut off in 5 minutes because I don't have like the subscription. I just use the free Zoom account. So I'm gonna give you. Let me see here. I'm just gonna read you these quotes that I just jotted down this morning, and then we'll have a couple minutes for questions. So this is the one that I'm living by right now. Don't give up what you want most for what you want now. That's really important to remember because there's always going to be things that are going to sidetrack you to go do something fun temporarily. But if you keep your big goal in the front of your mind and you just keep going for the gold, you know, by giving up those little things now, it's really going to pay off in the long run. 90% of successful people have strong self-discipline. Action is the foundational key to all success. And then fear regret more than fearing failure. So that is a big one. Regret is probably the worst of all worst, you know, really, if it comes down to it. So, so take this opportunity, you know, that we all have and run with it. Do you guys have any questions? And I can actually just post these notes under the, you know, on both pages so that you have the notes in case you want to go back to anything. But we've got like 4 minutes for questions if anybody wants to unmute or comments or anything. Marianne, do you want to add anything to things that have been working for you? Everybody's so quiet. I'm muting you guys. I know Zoodles is at work.
Can you hear me, Yoda?
Yeah.
It's Marianne. Okay. By the way, you did a great job on the call. A lot of great information. But yeah, I think that was one thing I was missing, was not really connecting with Mandy on our on a three-way call. I think that would have been so helpful back in the day. So yeah, because they just know more than you do when you're getting started, and you know, if you leave anything out, and then of course, you know, just to have all the support and for people to know that it's there. Like if I'm not available, Mandy is. So yeah, I think it's brilliant. We need to all start doing that.
Yeah. Kudos to Molly for thinking of this. I know. I'll tell you guys, lots of other network marketing, direct sales companies, they live by three-way calls. And I don't know, I guess because we're more of a party plan business, we don't see ourselves necessarily the same as some of those like network marketing ones, because mostly their business is done on the phone. But we can do both. I mean, we can connect with people in person and help them make dinner. And then we can also be taking advantage of smart business time, you know, smart use of our time.
Right.
Oh, you know what else? Oh, we're going to say something else, Marianne?
No, I agree with you. There's just different levels in our business that you can, you know, really master, but there's some, you know, for some reason, you know, building a team is maybe one of the hardest things and really need the support.
Yeah.
So
I think this could be the missing link. So that's exciting. There's only 2 minutes left, but I wanted to give you guys a couple action steps, and then I had an idea for maximizing June, like some extra steps. So for action steps, I think it would be really great. Oh, we have less than a minute. I'll post this if I get cut off. Okay, if you could write down your own goals, your why goals, and then also like write out what would it look like if you don't achieve those. where will your life? I unmuted everyone. That's my fault. Okay. So anyways, write down what your life is going to look like in 5 years if you don't reach your goals. Because if you continue to do what you've always done, you're going to continue to get what you've always gotten. There's no two ways about it. That's just how it goes. Okay. If you are not registered for STIR, our national conference, and you have any desire to just blow up your business, it would be a great place to be. I totally understand if you're brand new, it might be hard to swing financially, but it's in Denver, the cheapest place it's ever been for us to travel to. Normally it's on the East Coast or Midwest. So we can team you up in rooms. Your room will only be $50 a night if you're sharing with 3 other people. We don't spend any time in our rooms except sleeping. So you reach out to us if you're interested, you want to know more. We would love, love, love to have you at STIR. And then lastly, some of us did this fun thing around the holidays about if a certain amount of people purchase X amount of dollars from this board, they all pick different numbers. Like say it's a board of like numbers 1 through 20 or 25 or something. And then all of the dollars, they have to buy like however much it is that adds up to $500 for the whole board. And then you raffle off the host credit to whoever wins the raffle because it's double host credit this month. It just came to me a few minutes ago. I thought, oh my gosh, that is a great way to just up your sales $500 for the month of June. So think about that. If you want, I'll find that little document on our Facebook page and I'll post it on Team Grow. Actually, Marianne, you did a lot with this. Would you mind posting that? You might be muted, but